What's up everybody, John from Old Darting Farm here. In today's video, we're gonna go rob a bank. Let's go! Just kidding. In today's video, we are going to make some alpaca balls. Alpaca dryer balls. So we are gonna try two different methods of making alpaca dryer balls. And apparently these dryer balls are great for sticking them in the dryer, and they help not get wrinkles, and they help it dry faster, and it's something else that we can use our alpaca fiber for. We have a bunch of extra fiber from our last run of fiber processing, so gonna give it a shot. Let's get right to it. So I got my roving here, and this is really nice because this is cleaned, carded, and ready to go. So I think this will make great dryer balls. We shall see. I'm gonna just go through it. So basically, what I'm gonna do here is I have pantyhose, which is not the ones that were on my head, and we're gonna make, I think, about 3 balls and sort of fill this. So we're gonna do one version where they're in the washing machine, and we're gonna do one version where it's by hand. So I think the first step is to make my balls. Anyway, I've seen a bunch of different ways to do it. Since I have this roving here, I think you just kind of make some balls. Want to counteract the fibers, so wrap the fibers in a different way, so not just one way, because otherwise it'll unravel. So you do kind of one way and then the other way and around so that it doesn't just unravel. So now I'm going to go through, I'm going to make some of these balls out of these roving, and hopefully I do a good job. Alright, so I got my ball into my hose. Sort of like a nunchuck, a little bit. See pepper over my shoulder. And so I'm a little heavy on this one. I think you're supposed to do between like 1 and 2 ounces, and this is like a little over 2. But in the I'm just going to do one of each kind because I don't want to waste any of this yarn, because I am not confident in my ability to do this right. So now I'm going to tie this off tight as I can. Not very tight, but so alright, so here's our ball. I've seen people who just throw it in the washer with like jeans and let it run a cycle, or people who do it like every 5 minutes. So I'm really unsure as to what to do, but I'm going to figure that out in the next minute here. I'm just going to tie this a little bit tighter. So apparently this like felts it in the dryer, and now I don't know what felting is. Apparently it's a thing that people do, and apparently people like these dryer balls, so. Okay, so there's our first dryer ball. So I'm gonna make, I got one more to do, and I got the hand version to do. So I'm gonna put the other one together, and I'll check back in with you. Alright, so I've got 2 very different sized. So this is the first one I made. This is the second one I made. So this is the one I'm going to try to hand wash. This is the one I'm going to do in the washing machine. And I think I'm probably just going to run it in the washing machine and see what happens, because that seems like the more feasible option for us going forward. So we'll see if that actually works. I'm going to put the time in on this one to see if I can get this to work. Let's go. Oh, yeah! A little bit of detergent. Apparently the soap helps. So I'm setting this on an hour with hot. Warm and cold. So hopefully that works. I guess we'll find out. So what I'm going to be doing here is alternating between hot and cold water and soap. So I will need to go get some soap. And the idea, I guess, is that you do hot water for 5 minutes, cold water for 5 minutes, and then hot water again. And then the alternation between hot and cold kind of shocks it into condensing down and becoming a harder ball of fiber. We shall see. It is kind of weird, you know, so it's definitely gotten smaller, and I can for sure feel it being a lot more firm. And, you know, even though there's not, you know, a tremendous amount of moisture in there, because I've wrung it out quite a few times, it does feel firm. It's weird. This is weird. This is weird! Alright, so I think coming to the end of the process here, and there was one, I think it was, I'm sorry, I forget who it is. I'll try to link them in the comments or in the description down below. Of RRS were her instructions on how to do this. Rub, roll, and squeeze. So, you know, as I squeeze this out, you know, it sort of loses its shape, but then I can, you know, roll it back into a ball, and hopefully it stays that way. All right, so I'm probably done with the cold cycle. So I think there's just one more hot cycle and let it dry, and then we're good. So we shall see. All right, here we go. I mean, this was the knot when we started. Now it's way down here, and it's super firm. Like, I mean, I guess it worked. So we'll have to take it out and dry it, I guess, and see what happens. All right, so this little ball has been sitting on top of the washer while the big one finishes its cycle. It feels pretty hard. It's interesting. Still pretty wet. So I'm going to take the other one out. I'm going to put them both in the dryer, kind of see what happens. Whoa. Excuse my laughter. Wow, though, this feels, wow. This is crazy. So this, wow, it's not even really wet. I mean, it's a little wet. But I did hear something about these becoming like a part of the stocking. So you can see that sort of did happen because it's like sticking out. But that feels pretty legit, I gotta be honest with you. I mean, I don't know how hard these things are supposed to be. I've never actually touched an alpaca dryer ball. I've never even heard of these before I even got alpacas. So now I guess I'm gonna throw these in the dryer for a little while and see what happens, right? Okay, so dryer has been going for 20 minutes. Let's see how they look. Oh, so cool. Oh man. All right, so this one still feels a little wet. This is the small one that we handmade. And now this is the one that went through the washing machine. Now this one feels dry. It sort of felt dry coming right out of the washer. Now, I saw a couple different people when they did this. You know, most of them put, you know, like 3, I think, in one stocking. But I didn't want to waste it. I wanted to test it. And I could have sworn that this would come out better. Because the other thing that people said was with these, they would check it like every 5 minutes. For this one, I just threw it in and kind of let it go. So I'm going to take these hose off now and see how we did. So this is, again, this is tight. So this is the one that went through, wow, just the wash cycle. And I did hear about this happening too, where the stocking sort of gets felted right in there. And that does seem to be what's happening, because I'm having a hard time getting the stocking off. So, don't know that that's gonna come out. Let me see if I can get this taken care of, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I think I found out why people check it every 5 minutes. It's so the stocking doesn't get felted into the ball, which did happen with mine. You can see that's about as far as I can get. I don't know that that's a huge deal for me right now, because, you know, we're not going to sell this, obviously. But this is actually pretty cool. It's a nice little ball. It does kind of bounce, which is funny. But I mean, you know, this looked not like a ball when I put it in there. It had all kinds of, you know, the roving was not even, whatever. This, well, it smells great. And this looks like a dryer ball. So I guess the thing is to do it slower and to stop it every once in a while so you can adjust where the stocking is to just make sure, because I guess that's one thing I read. You sort of loosen it a little bit so that it doesn't get felted directly in there. And I think at a certain point you can actually take it out of the stocking because it's felted enough to hold its shape. But so I think this one is going to be pretty easy to take off, and yes, that is the case. So this one still is a little tight in there. And this one is not, I don't think it's quite dry yet. But this one also turned out pretty well. I mean, obviously there's some fuzz. Still a little bit of stocking, but I think that, here's a little nub. I think this looks pretty good too. You know, this was obviously much more intensive to do this by hand. This one feels denser. I think that's only, and so this one started out, I think it was 2.2 ounces. This one was 1.5, and it feels heavy. I think that's probably just because it's still wet. So I think once this one dries, it'll be fine. Again, though, this was a lot more work than this. So I think we found somebody online who actually makes dryer balls out of your seconds or thirds, and you don't even need to wash or card it. They do everything, and I think it's pretty cheap. So in terms of labor, that might be the way that we go. But this is pretty cool for now. So anyway, this was a pretty cool experiment. I had a good time. I had never heard of dryer balls before we had alpacas, and I don't think we'll use them. So maybe I'll give them to my mom and see if she wants to use them in the wash. I don't know if you could still use this with the extra stocking around it. I can't imagine that you couldn't. I think this is the way to go. So if we want to do this again, I think we'll probably do 3, and then maybe like halfway through or 10 minutes in, I'll loosen it and then maybe take them all the way off and put them out. Because again, this came out of the wash and it was pretty dry. So I think this is the way to go. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching this video. We really appreciate it. Please give us a like. Leave us a comment. Let me know if you saw something that I was doing wrong. Feel free to let me know. Thanks for watching.